Hello Mixology hackers, nice to see you again for another episode, and this time we are not cooking. Yes, we're not doing anything which requires so many equipment or a cooking time or anything like that messy. In fact, we're doing something really simple, but you're gonna need a patience for it, okay? Because it's not a 1 hour or a 1 day result. It'll take you up for a week. So my lovely Mixology hackers, if you're new to the channel or you just pop in, don't forget to subscribe for more Mixology hacks. And of course, let me show you what we are preparing today. Okay, as always, I start with the equipment, but today the equipment is very simple. You need a cutting board, then you need a little scale. As always, I always say you need a scale, so don't forget, link in the descriptions to all the scales which I recommend. You're gonna need a micro scale, but I've already measured the salt which we're gonna use today, but again, you will need one micro scale going forward because very often we are going to use it and you are going to use it because some measurements, it's a very small, and one of those, it's not gonna get anything. You need a micro scale. You need a knife and you need a mason jar or any good jar with a very tight lid, because today, my lovely friends, we are doing lacto fermented strawberry and honey. We will lacto ferment the strawberries, but in honey, which is gonna ferment the honey as well. But the strawberries is gonna release a wonderful flavor. So we will end up with a wonderful strawberry honey flavor lacto fermented syrup, which you can use in many cocktails, or you can just use as a normal drink. Just mix it with your favorite soft drinks. It's absolutely fine. Now, before I start and before I show you, because this video is gonna be fairly short, but it's gonna take 7 days to make. But I wanted to say, sometimes as mixologists, you turn to the cooking and the chefs, and that's absolutely fine because there's many inspiration in cooking books and many techniques which we can implement to the mixology, adjust or take a certain parts of some techniques and make it to work for us in the mixology, because obviously, end of the day, everything is preparation and cooking and patience and fermenting and waiting and basically prep. So this is the case today. There is a wonderful gentleman, Sam Cooper, who is a chef, photographer and presenter on Instagram. He has a YouTube channel with another presenter which it's all about the gardening. But Sam Cooper is doing wonderful things on Instagram, and I'm gonna leave the link in the description, of course, if you want to follow him and just do some of the things and try, because he's doing wonderful cooking. But time to time, he's showing some techniques which we can implement in the mixology. So they're not entirely related just to cooking. And that's the case today. So recently I've watched him doing this lacto fermented strawberry and honey. And even I've done lacto fermentation before. It's quite strangely never thought about honey and strawberries together. So I wanted to present it to you. So, before we start, just a quick one. What is lacto fermentation? May ask. I mean, may some of you ask, or you may heard of it and never done anything like that. So, in the most basic explanation is this. It's require salt, water, and vegetable or a fruit. Simple as that. No fancy equipment, no nothing. So basically, the salt acts as a fermenting agent. So if you have to put it really quick and on a funny way, many of the bacteria which it's harmful for us doesn't like salt. And that's how we implement the lacto fermentation in our everyday life to create wonderful things. You probably had pickles, okay, in your sandwich or hamburger or something. It's a lacto fermented pickle, simple as that. So basically what's happening is the salt first react with the fruits or the veg and basically kind of a knock off the bad guys, the bad bacteria, yeah? Once this is done, it starts lacto fermenting. That means the good guys start working and start extracting all the goodness from everything, whatever you decide to pickle or lacto ferment. And by the end, you have a wonderful product, which is healthy, long shelf life, and you can preserve, if you freeze it, even for like a very, very long time. So that's the basic of lacto fermentation. It doesn't require fancy equipment. All it's required is just a bit of a salt, a vegetable or a fruit, and a water. For today's recipe, all you're gonna need is 6 strawberries, like 5 to 6 strawberries. Nice ripe strawberries. Make sure you wash them and make sure you leave them in a cold water for a little bit, just to soak, just kind of to take anything out of them. Depends where you buy them or you get them from the garden. But yeah, give them a good wash. So we're gonna get 6 strawberries, and it's entirely up to you if you want to chop them in half or you want to leave them as they are, full. Depends what kind of jar you're using or a container, and depends what kind of a space you have, okay? It's not required, obviously, to chop them in small pieces. The salt is gonna break through them anyway, because the strawberries, it's not a hard fruit, so they'll be easy to ferment. I will chop them just in half, just to give a little more freedom to the salt to work out. And when I say salt, also please use a natural rock salt or a flakes or anything like that. Don't use any of the like a kitchen salt, which is processed and have hundreds of other things inside. Use natural salt. It's good for you, okay? It's miles better than any process. Strawberries are ready. Then we need our scale. So I'm gonna put all these lovely strawberries on the side here. Gonna get my scale. And we have to measure our honey. Now I'm following the recipe by Sam Cooper, okay? So I'm not making up anything on my own, just because I think he has lots of experience. So we're just gonna follow. Okay. So I got my honey. Also, depends on the honey, you're gonna get a different expression on the end, okay? Get a good honey. I have a dark and rich honey, because I like dark and rich, and I think it's gonna work fantastic with the strawberries. But also saying that, acacia honey or orange blossom, which is light, fresh, very satisfying, it will work with strawberries again, very nicely. But I'm kind of a fancy to have a little bit of dark and rich honey, so that's what I'm gonna use today. This little jar is 340 grams and we need to use 300. So as I say, I'm gonna follow the recipe, not gonna make up things. So let's go. We're gonna be absolutely precise here, because end of the day, as I mentioned, it's not my recipe or the way this quantity it is. So whatever Sam Cooper said, that's what I do. All right, let me just go closely now, because we're on 200. Now I'm start having a little issues here with this packaging from shops, because it says 340 grams and I'm nearly on 300, and this bottle it looks like it's empty. There you go, 300. I'm pretty sure there's no 40 grams left in this one. Do they include the plastic bottle as well in the measurements when they sell these things? No, there is something left, but anyway, we're not going to go through this now, but I'm a little bit suspicious that it's exactly 340 grams, okay? Next ingredient, you need a water. Get a filtrate water or a nice water, or if you use tap water, just leave it on the side for a couple of hours just to kind of airing a little bit. It's just nice to be a good water, okay? 240 grams. So let's see. I've put 240 milliliters, which is supposed to be the same as a grams, but we're gonna measure. Hey, it needs to be done. So that means 540 should become. 533, so I kind of I've not put exactly 240 ml, but yeah, 240 grams. And I think I have a feeling that this jar is going to be too small. So what I'm going to do, I am prepared for this because I just got these jars today, and I got a few of them just in case because I wasn't sure which one exactly is going to do the job for me. So I'm going to get this one here. First, we're going to mix the honey. You need to mix it nicely with the water, so be prepared to give it a good stir. It'll take a little time, of course, but don't worry about it. It will dissolve eventually, yeah? There we go. Okay. All right. Fabulous. Now we're going to put 16 grams of salt. This is a Scottish rock salt. Very good. I always use it. And of course you got to stir it and to dissolve a little bit. Don't worry about it if it doesn't dissolve completely. Ideally it's good to be dissolved completely, but if not, it will be fine because it's going to start doing its job. And obviously every day we are going to kind of airing this container or this jar to release some of the fermentation. So it's going to help to mix, okay? Now I'm going to pop my strawberries and see how much it's going to actually lift up the level. I think I'm going to be just about fine. Yeah, just about fine. Right. So, and this is it pretty much, boys and girls. All we need to do now, it's, I've just recently ordered weights for pickling, so they're going to be here at some point. But for now, I'm going to improvise, and I will use my little kind of a pot for the salt, because you need to kind of suppress the strawberries to go in the liquid, so they don't stay really out and breathe much, because they need to start fermenting with the salt, and the salt needs to react with them. So we need to help them. Obviously, by day 3 or 4, they're going to start getting softer and they're gonna sink, but until then we need to help them a little bit to get this salty bath, okay? Now I'm really not sure, do I want to mix more in this or change the container? I will probably have to change the container. Yeah, so as much I like this one, we're going to play on the safe side, so just give me a second. Okay, I'm going to use this one just in case, because it's a wonderful, this little fella here, but it's getting really to the edge, and when the fermentation starts and the gas starts releasing, we may end up with a lot of mess. So I'm just going to transfer in this one. All right. Let's make sure all the salt go in. We don't want any salt left because we need all of it. Okay. There is some left on the bottom. So I'm gonna bring some back the water and the honey. See, ideally I'm gonna do this experiment first and then I film. But this time I just decide to go for it. It's exactly like if you do it home and you never done it. So just to show you that there's always a first time, okay? Now I'm gonna drop this inside if it fits. It's not gonna fit, so I'm gonna have to think about something else, but I will do. For now, let's just leave here. I want to give it a good shake. I just want to kind of help the salt dissolve a little bit, and obviously bruise this not raspberries, strawberries, and help them kind of float nicely. So ideally I'm gonna have to put something inside to suppress these strawberries, but I don't have nothing heavy which is exactly the size of this, so we're gonna hope that they're gonna start fermenting from the bottom, and slowly every day when we mix them, they will get inside and sink as they're supposed to be. So mixology hackers, this is where I'm gonna stop. I'll see you shortly. As I always say with the magic of editing, few days gonna pass in just a second. And we are back 1 week later, my lovely mixology hackers. Yes, so I wanted to go through the week and open the jar every single day and show you what's going on, but I have to admit, I made a slight mistake here, and it's nothing to do with the actual final result, because it's going to be absolutely the same. If you check Sam Cooper video on Instagram, he made the lacto fermentation in very small jar, leaving very little amount on top of the jar as air space, and this obviously creating the lacto fermentation, there will be a release of gases, so you have to open it maybe once or twice during the process to release these gases. Because I've changed to this jar which have a lot of air space on the top, I kind of didn't have to do that. I did shake it every day a little bit, or just kind of a swirl the jar so I can mix the liquid with the strawberries. And there is fermentation, as you can see on the top, there is a nice kind of like a bubbly fermentation. So this is the only difference. Depends on the jar. If you leave too much air space, you may not experience this bubbly reaction. If it's a small jar and you have very little left on the top, you'll be maybe needing it to open it once or twice during the process. I did open it in the day 3. It was a little bit fizziness inside, but not that much, because as I mentioned, lots of air space inside. But we are ready, so without wasting any more of your time, I will say use any kind of a pot which you have, with a fine sieve of course, but just to prevent any more of the strawberries which is dissolved a little bit to enter the liquid, I'll say use a cheesecloth or a milk bag or anything you have, and I will open that. It's fermenting. It smells amazing. So let's just strain it slowly. Now depends how thick it's your cheesecloth, it may take a little bit. Mine is very fine, to be honest, so it doesn't usually like to move. As far I don't give it a little kind of a movement, push like that. But that's all it is. These strawberries, don't throw them away, you can use them for something. They're lovely lacto fermented strawberries, use them in the dessert, why not? Don't just throw them. I mean, it's entirely up to you, but ideally do not throw them, okay? Okay, fabulous. I'm gonna get the jar back, just so I can pop the strawberries for now away. I will not squeeze much the strawberries, just a little bit, few drops. I don't want any of the pulp going inside. Let me put this like that. And I'll use these strawberries after, most likely. Okay, fabulous. So you end up with a lovely liquid here, which we're gonna bottle. Now, make sure you use like sterilized bottle. I'm gonna put another fine sieve. I don't really need it, but just in case. Beautiful color. I don't think this is gonna fit in this bottle, but I will bottle it, and the rest of it I will transfer later in a smaller bottle, or I may just freeze some of it, we'll see. For now, look at that. It's beautifully bubbling inside, because obviously it's still a little bit of the fermentation process going on. So we'll leave it like this, and I may try, okay? And you know what? I have probably, I don't know, maybe 60 shot glasses from, you know, people keep giving me stuff all the time. And when I moved to the bar here, I basically tidy up everything. And yeah, I don't have any shot to try. So I'm gonna use good old jigger. This is for experimental purposes, so it's absolutely allowed. First of all, you have this wonderful subtle strawberries, like a flavor, aromas. Not flavor, aromas. There is a little bit of the honey, but the strawberry is really overtaking it. Oh, you know, diets. People may say it's weird taste if they never try lacto fermented products, but it's absolutely wonderful. You have the sweetness from the honey, you have the strawberry flavor, you have a little bit of saltiness, of course, because we're using salt to lacto ferment. It's a very good balance. This one cold from the fridge, it's amazing. You can just use it in any soft drinks, but in cocktails, it's gonna bring such a complex flavor because, you know, sometimes in cocktails you're using salt solution just to kind of boost the flavors because the salt react with them and it's giving them a more open, like a rich. This is straight away done now because if you use that in any cocktail, the salt inside in this lacto fermented strawberry and honey, it will help the rest of the ingredients to shine through. And it's just wonderful. This is warm. I suggest it needs to be definitely cold. Even if you just drink it with a mixer, make sure ice and everything, because I think when it's cold, it's going to be miles better if you're not used to this taste, kind of a lack of saltiness and sweetness in the same time. For me, it's absolutely fantastic, and yeah, it's just wonderful. Oh, do not use too much of it. As I mentioned, you have a salt inside, so I don't know, if you're using it in a cocktail, maybe 15 ml will be enough. If you're using it in a mixer, maybe one measure, like 1 ounce or a 25 ml here in UK or whatever, just with some tonic or soda or whatever you decide. But yeah, maybe do a spritz, non-alcoholic spritz. You will have this lovely saltiness with the dryness or the sweetness, depends on what non-alcoholic wine you're using, and the aperitivo inside. So yeah, lots of things to try. But yeah, try lacto fermenting, guys. So we will do more lacto fermentation, obviously, during the course of the year. Not really in the summer, so we're probably gonna go back to it when it's come to the winter time. But for now, this is it from this episode. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time with something new. I haven't decided yet what, but definitely it's gonna be a video. One last thing before I go and say goodbye. Just wanted to mention, we prepare a lot of ingredients on the channel, and I kind of miss a very little point, but very important, and I'm gonna correct this now. This, my friends, it's a label machine. So we'll leave link in the description to this one, but however, you can get any label machine. But when you do ingredients at home, it's a good idea, obviously, to label things. Now, this lacto fermented strawberry and honey, it should be good for up to 2 months in the fridge, but you can even freeze it and use it very longer time. So no matter what you do, it's always good to put a label on it. Now, this machine particularly works with your mobile. It doesn't have any buttons on it because it's just very simple. You have an app, which is absolutely fantastic. And when you turn the machine, there you go. It's gonna connect to your phone because it's a Bluetooth, and you can just type. So I'm gonna do strawberry and honey. So I did strawberry and honey lacto ferment. Today date it's 23rd of April. So I will put on the label used by mid-June. So, or you can put the date when you created it. And this way you can count. So yeah, let's do this. It's done on 23rd of April. Okay, 24. All right, so this is the label. I mean, you'll see it now. All you need to do is just press print, and there you go. You have a lovely label. The app inside is giving you so much options, like you can do templates and anything you like. But there you go. So you got that. You put it on your bottle. It's not exactly straight, but who cares? And yeah, once you do this, you can put it in the fridge and you know when you created it, you know how long it has to be. You can monitor it, and in the future you can make notes and know how long it's staying in your fridge. So you can do a different label used by, yeah? But this is it. Try to get your things labeled, syrup, shrubs, whatever you do, because it's just very easier. The pineapple syrup I did in the previous video, it's already labeled, it's in my fridge. I just literally forgot again to film that part so I can show you. Anyway, the machine is going to be available down in the link if you want to have a look at it. I strongly recommend it because it's very affordable and it's very easy to use. But yeah, that's it from now. I'll see you in 2 weeks time with something else. I don't know what yet, but there will be a video. I'm making something. All right? Love you all and see you soon. Bye-bye.